Now, the 1997 Asian financial crisis. What happened? What hits you, Bob? And how did you not see it coming? And how did you dig yourself out of it?
Actually, I think we became arrogant, we became too comfortable, we became too successful. Do you remember the 90s?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, and we all just thought the good times would never end. And all the banks were so flush with money. They were lending so much money to everybody. You know, it was a case of, if you won 1 million, they said, please take 2. And that, of course, fueled the stock market, it fueled the property, and then we actually had a bubble. So then the 97 crisis, Asian crisis came, and because the gearing was so high, and then the crash came. And it came so suddenly, you know. Our market actually in 3 months dropped by half. So then everybody could not get out, and that led on to what we call the Asian financial crisis. Yeah. Nobody saw it coming, really, nobody. We really thought the good times would never end.
What hit you actually at that time? What is the biggest impact to your business?
Actually, the biggest impact was not the lack of business, you know. The biggest impact was the gearing.
Gearing, can you just elaborate? What do you mean by gearing?
Yeah, because you see, at one time the banks and the brokers were lending money indiscriminately. So you see, if you've got shares worth $1 million, they will lend you 600, 700, 800,000. And of course, you use that to buy more shares. But what happened when the share prices dropped? And the prices dropped, you know, it dropped to 5%. Some counters dropped to 5% of its value. So your 1 million worth of shares become worth maybe 50,000, 100,000. But your loan is still 600, 700, plus interest, 800. That is what killed the market, overgearing.
Overgearing, meaning you had some stocks, you borrowed on top of those, against those stocks.
Yes.
And you basically, in Chinese, we always say "sai lang all in."
Exactly.
Everything gambled in, and you get caught when it drops to 5%.
You cannot get out fast enough.
You cannot get out fast enough. So how did you dig yourself out of it?
It took 5 years, but basically we sort of continue working, continue trying to do deals, you know, waiting for the economy to bounce back, and eventually it did. You see, so essentially it was those who had holding power, staying power, they survived the crisis. And then you do what you have to do. You continue working. You continue doing all the small deals, and hopefully bringing on bigger deals. And we were lucky that our own economy in the 2000s actually had a good run. And that pulled the whole market out and gave it a big run.
Now, when you say, you just mentioned holding power, can you elaborate more on that? What do you exactly mean by holding power?
Yeah, the lack of gearing. If you have bought and paid for the shares, you can hold it. Even though you should sell and buy it back, but then if you're caught, you can hold it. And eventually, if you're holding on to good counters, if you're holding on good investment stocks, it will come back. And that's what happened.
That's what happened. So the problem with people dumping stocks is because they could not hold.
Exactly. And in fact, it comes to a stage when you are no longer in control of your own portfolio. The banks, the lenders are in control, and they are for selling. That's what happened. They killed all the people.
So what you say is that with that 1 million that you put in, your value become 5%, and because you borrowed another 700,000, they foresell your 5%.
Yes. And you still end up, after having sold all your shares, you still owe the bank.
You still owe the bank 600,000-700,000.
That's the problem.
Okay.